This is the first segment of a 3-part series where I look into 3 different things. Should you roast your own beans? The basics of coffee roasting, and also budget coffee roasting setups for under $100. Let's begin with the pros of coffee roasting. The first big one is cost savings. So how much money can you save with roasting your own coffee? Well, let's compare it to some other methods of getting coffee. If you get a coffee from a cafe, it's around $2. If you buy already roasted beans and brew it at home, it's around 70 cents. And if you roast your own coffee, that's around 30 cents. That's the same price per cup as instant coffee. Pretty amazing, eh? I've also made this coffee cost calculator where you can check out the different ways of consuming coffee and their price tags. You can also add your own coffee consumption up top and compare your graph to the other graphs. Some hobbies have a really high startup cost. However, coffee roasting has a pretty low startup cost, depending on where you want to begin. The roasting methods that I'll be showing in segment 3 are all DIY budget setups, and all of them are under $100. I'll be showcasing a popcorn popper, a bread maker and heat gun, and also share my experiences with a cast iron. Another big perk of roasting your own coffee is that you get fresh coffee beans whenever you want it, and you're able to dose it out according to your coffee consumption needs. Now that means that you can always have the freshest beans whenever you want if you're able to schedule it out properly. Now the cons of coffee roasting. The first one is that it's time consuming. You're learning a whole new craft. You need to practice and understand the process, and the roasting itself takes time. It's around 20 minutes to roast the whole batch from start to finish. So it will be a lot of time that you'll be putting into this new craft of roasting. Roasting coffee is also pretty messy, so there's this part of the bean called the shaft, which is kind of like the husk around the bean, that breaks off and flies away as you roast your beans, and you'll find this everywhere if you start roasting indoors. One part that I didn't expect was that roasting coffee is actually pretty darn loud. The bread maker and heat gun makes a lot of sound, the air popper makes a lot of sound, and it's kind of equal to a small vacuum cleaner being on for 20 minutes or so. The last one is that there will be a learning curve. Just like how you started brewing coffee at home and it might not have been the best cup, but over time you were able to refine your method, you were more confident in how you were brewing at home, and also perhaps you did some tweaks to your brewing recipe. All of these things that you did to get a really good cup of coffee at home need to be done when roasting. You need to tweak the way you roast your beans, you need to modify your setup a bit to contain more heat. You need to be able to brew with the beans that you've roasted and understand if you want to roast it more or less next time. So there's a lot of learning to be done when you're roasting your own beans. So with all that said, this is my final 5 cents on the topic. If you are a person who is extremely passionate about coffee and wants to experience the whole coffee realm and understand coffee on a whole new level, then coffee roasting is great for you. Or if you are a coffee person that consumes a lot of coffee, then I also recommend you looking into roasting your own beans, because there is a huge cost savings that can be made over here with roasting your own beans. If you have any questions about if you should roast your own coffee, then feel free to ask those down below. So if you want to learn more about coffee roasting at home, I'll pass you along to the basics of coffee roasting, part 2, or budget coffee roasting setups for under $100, part 3. I'll see you there.